Alright guys, so welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to go over why you should learn networking before you get into cybersecurity. So I know there's a big craze right now, especially in 2025 and in the following years prior. Um, Everyone wants to get into cybersecurity, right? It's the hottest, coolest, most interesting field in tech that everyone wants to get into, and they want to avoid one sort of person in the room or some sort of forgot the term for it, but some sort of the elephant in the room. I don't know why that kinda slipped out of my mind. So, they're avoiding the elephant in the room, which is networking, right? So, networking, what is networking? Obviously, communications of devices, like routers, switches, firewall servers, access points, whatever, right? Communication, right? Going from one place to another, just like you're watching this video. I don't know where you are in the world or whoever's watching this video, but you're watching it somewhere. I'm in one location. How does this video get to you? Right. And that's what networking is about. So, why should you learn networking before cyber? And before we even get to that, why do people not want to learn networking? First thing is they assume networking is a difficult field. And it can be difficult because there are concepts and terms and things that you have to just know, like subnetting, right? Which is not as complex as you think. And I'm going to make a subnetting video very soon to explain it in the most easiest, simplest way. But subnetting is one big thing that people just think, oh, it's impossible to learn. But it's easy. If you put the time in, you're going to be able to pass it or understand it. So subnetting is one thing. Another thing is also with all the protocols and all these weird terminologies that you have to learn about. And most of networking, it's hard to sort of conceptualize because you don't really see it. It's all going on behind the scenes, so a lot of people don't want to learn it because they think it's hard. They think it's the most difficult part of tech, but you have to take pride in that, right? This is, you're dealing with you're understanding the fundamental idea of communication within IT, because as you know, right, it's a very fascinating field, and for those who already are in networking, know how fascinating of a field this is. There's a lot to do. There's a lot that goes on. It's super fun to work in. And there's just a lot of opportunity in this field as well. But the thing is, a lot of people who go into cyber refuse to learn it, and then kind of have a sort of like a weak point in their sort of learning curve or learning or their expertise, right? Because here's the thing, right? When I took the CISSP exam, people say, oh, it's so difficult exam, it's the hardest exam ever. A domain 4 is the hardest, which is the networking domain. And I just realized like that was the easiest domain, right? Because if you understand networking, the rest is easy. And to be honest, most of cybersecurity, not to say it's common sense, but a lot of it is common sense, right? And networking is really the main field within that involves having an understanding of logic, because most of networking is logic, right? You run this command, it's going to do this. You plug in this device, it's going to do that. You add this protocol, it's going to do this, right? You add this port number, you do this, whatever. You add this ACL is going to block this, right? So it's all physical and just logical, as opposed to cybersecurity, which is like policies and HIPAA and all that stuff, right? So there's a lot that's involved in there. And like I said, cybersecurity is a fast-ending field. It's a field that I would soon to want to get into myself. But the thing is, there are prerequisites for this field, and and here's the thing, a lot of network engineers or a lot of cybersecurity professionals who you see started off having an understanding of networking at some point, right? And they understand it to the point where, okay, they understand IP addressing, they understand protocols, they understand just the general idea what's the difference between a switch, what's a broadcast domain, what's the difference between a router and a switch, what's a firewall, what's an access point, what's a wireless controller, what's a lightweight access point. These sort of devices you have to know, because if you want to secure these devices, you have to understand them. You have to understand how they work, what they do, what's the mechanism behind it, right? If you don't understand that, then you're going to struggle. And that's where a lot of people struggle, is that they think, oh, just I'm gonna get the cybersecurity, I'm gonna get my Net Plus, Security Plus, and I'm good to go. There's a lot more involved than just Net Plus, right? And I know a lot of people want to just Net Plus just to get out of the way, but learn a specific vendor. That's why I recommend the CCNA certification. That way you can at least learn what network engineers do, because you can see it in as close as possible. And certifications don't really do this the best. It can sort of show you as close as possible in a way of giving you an understanding of what sort of networking engineers do day to day, in terms of like the idea of like the sort of commands that we run, the sort of protocols that we run to, and all that stuff, and actually how to build a lab and build a topology and build a project, and all that stuff. Because you know, data in transit, right? Data in transit, when data is going from one place to another, that is when data is the most vulnerable, right? I'm gonna say it again. When data is moving from one place to another, just like you're watching this video, right? That is when data is the absolute most vulnerable. So if you want to learn how to secure when data is most vulnerable, learn networking. Because if you can learn this, this is when data is at the most risk of a hack or attack or of losing the data, right? So that's one big thing right there. I just want your guys to sort of wrap your head around that, right? So there's nothing wrong with before getting to cyber to learn networking and maybe get into a networking field and then maybe work 1 2 years, then get into cybersecurity because that's an easier pathway. Because what you're learning as a network engineer is going to translate extremely well into a cybersecurity role, right? Extremely well. But some people don't want to do that. They want to go straight into cyber, and that can be a big of an issue because cybersecurity does require experience, right? No one wants to tell you this. No one wants to admit it, but you do need some sort of experience to get into this field. Whether it's help desk, whether it's IT admin, network admin, doesn't matter. You need some sort of experience to get into this field, especially in cybersecurity. And I know a lot of people, that's their dream, but look into networking as a field, as a gateway to get there, right? It's like I said, network engineering. It's a field that you just start, you learn the skill set. It takes time to learn it. The more you practice it, the more you do it, you're gonna get good at it to the point where you're gonna stand out against everyone else, right? And that's the whole idea. I want you guys to learn is get the skill. Once you learn the skill, and if you guys want help on learning the skill and how to become a network engineer, please click the link into my description where you can just book a call with me and I can just show you exactly how to get into this field. Because, like I said, I've only been in this field for 4 years and I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. And from what I noticed is this is a growing field. This is a field that is worth learning mainly because you're dealing with hardware. It's one of the most unique fields, right? So, I just want you guys who are either going cybersecurity majors or looking to get a cybersecurity job, look into getting a networking position first, as opposed to jumping straight into cybersecurity. I know a lot of people want to get there. That's their dream, but be patient. You know, being patient is the best thing you guys can possibly do. But yeah, hopefully you guys, this has sort of give you guys some insights on this field and whether, you should jump into networking or not. But I really do appreciate you guys' time. Like I said, guys, if you guys need help in terms of landing a job as a network engineer, please go ahead and send me a DM on Instagram, or please just click the link in my description so you can book a call with me so I can show you exactly how to get into this field. So I really do appreciate you guys' time. Hopefully this has been informative. If you guys like the video, give it a like. If you guys want to, have any comments or any questions, or you felt this video was useful for you, please leave it down in the comment section below. With that being said, everyone, I do appreciate you guys' time and peace.